It's Happy Hour from uptown New Orleans at the lovely Columns Hotel. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. In the next 60 minutes, you'll get to meet just 4 of the many thousands of fascinating people who live in New Orleans, and you'll get to hear some live music, or maybe some recorded music as well. At the end of the show, you might conclude New Orleans is a great city where people love to talk, have fun, and enjoy great music. But you probably know that already, so let's get right on with doing nothing but enjoying the next 60 minutes of Happy Hour together. My guests sitting around the table here at the Collins Hotel today are from left to right, Champ Superstar.
Hello.
That is her real name. Champ Superstar likes her cocktail hour to start at noon normally. She also likes sidewalk orgasms and fuck you songs with bitter lyrics. Champ is also a fan of epidemiology and the history of salt. Along with expensive hotels and having drinks with men of dubious character, Champ likes people who have sex for validation, and she enjoys making out in random places. Okay?
Where'd you
Shannie's looking very shocked at that. Shannie Goldstein.
Where am I?
Shannie Goldstein is a mental health therapist. She's a marriage and family counselor and adjunct professor of Hebrew language at Tulane University. Shannie's married to Rabbi David Goldstein, and one of their 2 children is also a rabbi. Shannie went up against the KGB in the ex-Soviet Union, and not only did she survive that, but she has survived nearly half a century of marriage. Today is Shannie's 48th wedding anniversary. Very nice.
Let's hear it for my husband.
Yeah, well, we will hear a little bit about your husband, hopefully, in a moment. And across the table from me are Robert Mercusrio and Jeff Raines, the founding members of one of New Orleans' most successful and popular bands, Galactic. Robert and Jeff started the band in 1994. In the subsequent 18 years, Galactic have put out best-selling records and are a headline act at almost every major festival in America, including our own Jazz Fest and Bonnaroo. Galactic maintains a dizzying touring schedule, selling out venues across the country. Their newest album is called Carnaval Electricos. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, sir, it is.
And it's out now. Welcome, everybody, to Happy Hour.
Thanks for having us, Grant.
Mitch Foreman is playing the piano, except in absentia today. He's disappeared and gone somewhere else, so all we have is the recorded version of our Happy Hour theme. So we don't have Mitch Foreman to contend with, but we do have 48 years of marriage, Shannie Goldstein. What was your maiden name?
Lightman.
Lightman. That sounds pretty Jewish as well.
Yes, indeed.
Did you know your husband was going to be a rabbi when you married him?
Yes, but I tried to talk him out of it.
You did? Why is that? What did you want him to do?
Anything but.
Really? Why is that?
You know what? He's retired now. But it's never boring. It's there's not one boring minute in such a life. And
Judaism is exciting.
Yes, but working with people and being part of the intimate parts of their lives is what makes it so meaningful. And I mean that sincerely.
What do you mean by being intimate parts of their lives? What does a rabbi do that we don't know about, other than conduct services on a Saturday?
Oh, my gosh.
I'm glad you didn't say, oh, my God. Are you allowed to take God's name in vain in the Jewish religion?
Never.
You can't say, oh, my God?
OMG.
OMG. Oh, thank goodness for OMG. Is that true, though, really? Honestly?
OMG.
You're not allowed to use the word God, are you, actually?
Yes, you
in
are.
Orthodox Judaism.
I'm not Orthodox, first of all.
What are you?
Reform.
What does that mean?
That means it's not Orthodox. It's
I know that
Reform.
much.
It's
okay.
It's not rigid. It's flexible.
What does that mean? You can eat pork?
If you choose to.
Oh, that's a fantastic religion. So,
if you choose to, but these choices ought to be made with education.
Well, what does that mean? If you like the taste of pork, you can eat it?
If you choose to.
Is that right? So what's the sort of guiding principles of Reform Judaism? Just do whatever you feel like as long as you call yourself Jewish?
No. There are many, many, many parts. I mean, there's the culture, the history, the Israel, the so many things. I mean, I didn't come prepared. I think this is like a test. I didn't come prepared for this.
It's like Meet the Press.
It's like, after this is all over, I'll think of all the things that I wish I had said. But right now, it's like...
Well, we don't want to be too hard on you.
Let's easy and work up the hard.
Okay, so let's get this out of the way then, because I'm sure everybody listening to this wants to know, and I'm sure all of us around the table here want to know too. What is the secret of staying married for 48 years?
The secret.
I'm going to give you a minute.
To the same man.
I'm going to give you a minute. Yeah, to the same. I'm going to give you a minute to think about that answer, because I'm going to go around the table and ask everyone: are you in relationships?
Oh yes, I am married, and I'm sort of in awe at this lady to my left.
How long have you been married, Jeff?
About 10 years.
About 10. And did
10
you-
and some change.
Well, you'd
actually.
already been in Galactic for 8 years when you met your wife then.
We were high school sweethearts, actually, my wife and I. So we sort of broke up through our college years and then found that we still cared deeply for each other.
That's romantic.
And got married 10 years ago.
Wow. And what has she had done in the meantime? You went
She
on to
works
be a
at
rock
Tulane
star.
as well, as a academic advisor, actually.
Okay. Okay. Robert?
Yeah, I'm actually married as well.
How long?
And we just celebrated our 6th anniversary.
So you were a rock star when you got married as well.
Yeah, she knew what she was getting into. You know.
Does that make life more difficult?
That she knew what she was getting
No,
into?
like being like a sort of a popular musician.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the
Very
popular
popular.
musician part that's the difficult part. It's just like, you know, being away from home for so long.
You guys are on the road a lot.
Trying to connect and you know, sometimes we're gone for up to 3 weeks and stuff. But she's a very accepting person, and like I said, she knew what she was getting into, and we started dating. So she really
Did you know what you were getting into?
doesn't know. No, I didn't at all.
You had no idea.
But she knew. You know, she knew. She doesn't know any other way. Like she's just used to me. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're gone weekends and this.
You
and
guys
that,
have
so.
kids?
I have 2, actually.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, our lifestyle does afford, you know, our wives a certain amount of freedom. It's like they actually have, you know,
Get rid of
full
you.
lives. Yeah. They're able to sort of, you know, enjoy certain freedoms that I guess people in more conventional relationships don't have. So there is an upside, I think, to, you know, if we're home too long, I think our wives start to get slightly like annoyed.
Because you don't go to the office. You're just at home all day.
No, we go in the studio. We go in the studio and stuff. We still
Yeah.
are away from them. but
Okay, so it's not like you're under their feet all day.
No.
Okay, Champ, here
And
we go.
they work, you know.
Let's hear it, Champ. What's your romantic relationship like at the moment,
I
or
am
situation?
currently in several one-sided relationships with celebrities and bartenders.
So they don't know about you.
They know about me, but usually through some sort of legal enforcement.
Are you a policewoman?
No.
So you're under restraining orders
I'm
from
a-
various
yes.
people. So who are you stalking? Can you tell us who you're stalking currently?
No, pretty much anybody that comes in through town, movie-wise, I'm all over.
You're all over them. Who?
There's a lot of people nowadays, huh?
Yeah. You must be having a pretty busy time because
Pretty busy.
everybody's
yeah.
here now.
I really had to pencil this in.
Did you stalk Quentin Tarantino yet?
No, because he kind of creeps me out a little, so...
Wow.
But
That's
then
a
again,
pretty-
like, I'm really
Look
into
at
creepy
Shani's
things.
face. You're a professional. You're a professional therapist, right?
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
I hear
I
all
think-
kinds of strange
I think we can do a whole hour on just the two of you talking to each other. Shani, what would you ask her first if she came into your clinic looking for help? And we're going to get
I
back
would
onto the
ask
secret
her,
of marriage.
oh,
in a
well,
minute.
why are you here? You know, why are you coming to see me? What can I do to help you? And
Well, I mean-
we would start there.
I mean, I'm just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
We got to go down this
But
rabbit
you
hole.
wouldn't be coming to
Not
see me
working.
if
We
you were
could
just
do-
trying to be funny.
I could do a whole hour show here, which I actually did think about doing on Champ's Twitter feed alone, which we're going to get to later on. But we're going to get back. Now we've got everyone's marital status sorted out here, or relationship status. Shani, we all need to know the secret for real. Now you've had about 5 minutes to think about that.
Honestly,
what is the secret?
I've not
yeah,
been
honestly.
thinking about it. I've been listening, to everyone.
Okay.
But, well, you got to love a person. I mean, I have to say that. And
Do you have to be in
love?
Do you have to be in love
I
for the
think
whole time?
so. And you got to have, you got to have sense of humor. You got to be kind and thoughtful. And I don't know if I'm going to say the wrong thing here or not, but good sex is also
Okay. Well, now.
helpful,
Okay, now.
I'm not sure how inappropriate a high five would be for you right now, but I want to.
Come on. What,
And you got to work on staying in love, for goodness sake.
what does that mean, exactly? People say they've got to work on a relationship. Do you guys have a clue what that means, frankly? Anybody?
Yeah, I know what she's saying.
Robert, what is she saying?
Good.
Robert, tell me, what does that mean, just to work on a relationship?
I mean, you gotta think outside yourself a little more sometimes, and I think in any relationship you're always getting checked, and you have highs and lows. At least within my relationship, of times that sometimes maybe I'm more thoughtful or thoughtless, and I try to think of us as a unit opposed to just two individuals. It's just stuff like that. I think you gotta constantly remember and remind yourself that you're there together.
Yeah, and when you find that you're feeling like there's a lot of distance that's coming between you for whatever reason, and it will, then somebody has to say, okay, we're getting a little distant. We've got to do something to come back. And that's if you want to do that. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to do that, then you just keep going bye-bye, and it will end. Yeah. So that's what I mean by work, because everybody's got his own developmental stuff and needs and stages and everything and dreams, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's great. It's great when you get to the other end.
What's the other end?
Yeah. Where I am now.
48 years. Was there ever a time in the whole 48 years when you thought this is awful and I'm not going to stay married to this guy?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And then I thought about it and I said, I love him.
Right.
Yeah, he loves me.
So how often do you supposed to have sex with each other?
Well,
you're a therapist. Now we can ask you this as a therapist and also as a 48-year veteran.
According to research, about 3 times a week is good. But when you have little kids and you're out of town, obviously you don't want to do it, with another person just because you got to get the 3 times a week in.
No, you're not.
I didn't realize that was even a possibility. Well, that would change everything.
But 2 or 3 times a week is about what they say. That keeps the connection. No, it doesn't always have to be the fireworks and the bells and whistles. It's just the
what
connection.
What does it have to be?
It's got to be a nice connection, of love and caring and gentle, and you can tell. But 3 times maybe, great. Some people like it every day. Good. If they both like it every day, or if they can accommodate to each other, fine. But and sometimes you've got to put it on the schedule. Seriously, I know that sounds weird, but it's got to go on the schedule, because otherwise everybody's too busy. There's always
that
something. That
doesn't take the romance out of it, you don't think?
You'd be surprised, because if you see it on the calendar and then you start thinking, and so I'm going to make a
we have
little
date night,
stop
so that's
along the way.
Kind of
Yeah, well,
what that's going to end up with.
Yeah, and you kind of plan for it, and sometimes it's a little more spontaneous. But if it's in your head that we've got to do this, or we're just going to go farther apart and have to work at getting back together. I mean, it's a challenge, but it's worth it.
Okay, well, congratulations there. That's 48 years is an incredible achievement.
Yeah, we've been together for about 50 years.
Wow. So you were together a couple of years before you got married. I don't want to, this is almost a rude question, but you look so young.
Yeah, you do.
You look really young.
10.
You were 10 when you got...
Before you were 4 and a half.
Much.
Was it an arranged marriage?
It wasn't orthodox.
No, hardly. Except we did meet each other in Jerusalem, although it was so...
Well, that's the Eternal City.
Hey,
that explains the whole thing. There you are.
I started with that.
What were you doing in Jerusalem, by the way?
We were both students.
Really? What were you studying in Jerusalem?
I was studying Hebrew, and he was in the middle of his rabbinic studies, and we were in the same school.
What school was that?
It was called the Chaim Greenberg Institute for Foreign Teachers. Yeah.
Well, there really is somebody called Chaim Greenberg who knew that.
Yes. It's still there.
You'd have to have a school named after you if your name was Chaim Greenberg. Really, or be a lawyer.
Right. It was very romantic, and in those days, students didn't go away for their junior year in college yet, and so it was very nice. Very nice. And we make pilgrimages back to these spots.
When you met?
From time to time.
At the Chaim Greenberg?
Yeah,
Is it still there?
Nice. Yeah.
What is it
now? But it's not Chaim Greenberg
no, what
Institute
is it now?
anymore.
It's a disco or something?
Something like that. It's turned into a yuppie neighborhood, and
okay.
But those spots are still there.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is. Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
thank
inspirational.
It certainly is.
Okay, rock and roll guys. Let's talk about music for a minute. First of all, let's talk about this record, because I want to play something off the new record. It's not that new. It came out at the beginning of the year, right? It came out on Mardi Gras Day.
That's right. This is our homage to Mardi Gras on this album.
So what was the idea? We were talking just before we went on the air here.
Well, basically, I think the idea was that Mardi Gras music has not really evolved particularly profoundly. Like the music you hear around Mardi Gras is maybe local, or it could be pop music, or it could be even in like the Caribbean and stuff, usually you're hearing, some sort of
Same old
newfangled
thing.
rap. And so our idea was to maybe take a fresh look at Mardi Gras music and try to sort of put it through the prism that is our band, Galactic, and do something different with it. And kind of try to link some of the traditions like in Brazil or Trinidad and some of the other places in the Caribbean that, have Mardi Gras as a tradition and sort of try to link some dots. And so, that was the loose idea, I guess, behind making this album.
And how did the idea translate into what it ended up becoming, or did it become something else?
It was an interesting process. I guess the New Orleans stuff was easy for us, like getting a Mardi Gras Indian. And, the first track we're going to listen to is Carnival Time, redone, but with the original singer from, was it 50 years? It's 49 years ago or something?
50 years ago.
Carnival Time
Yes, he
Johnson.
recorded it and came in and worked with us, and he's still in great voice, and he's an amazing man to work with.
What's he like, Al? Because he keep on. I mean, I guess his name is Al Johnson, but everyone calls him Al Carnival Time Johnson.
Oh, it's always Carnival Time with him.
Really?
Yeah, since we've recorded the song, he calls me about every week, and when I answer the phone, hey, it's Carnival Time.
Wow. so he's kind of like the Ernie Cato of
of
Mardi Gras.
He does not mind being called Al Carnival Time Johnson. I mean,
What's he like as a guy, other than fun and obviously?
Oh, he's super sweet. I mean, he's about 72, I think, now, and just sweet man.
And in remarkable shape. Like, he's really taking care of himself. You meet a lot of these guys, and, their years have been tough, and they've toured and, lived a hard life. But this guy is still in great voice and great shape, and, is just totally with it and really sort of inspirational, I guess, on one level to work with.
Well, let's take a listen to him, Al Carnival Time Johnson and Galactic, doing Al Carnival Time Johnson's song, It's Carnival Time.
How many times can you Carnival?
I gotta hear this.
Here we go. Beautiful. It's carnival time. Everybody's having
That was
fun.
awesome.
It feels like carnival time, even though it's a little bit off carnival time here.
That's the one dilemma with putting out a carnival album. It's like then carnival happens and then no one wants to hear it.
Do
for
people
another year.
outside New Orleans care that it's not carnival? They just
No,
just
they don't
infectious.
actually. It's just in
That's the other. It's hard to keep that in perspective too. You're like, hey, it's Mardi Gras, people of Ohio.
What do people think? I mean, when people outside New Orleans hear that beat, I mean, we know what it is as soon as we hear that Mardi Gras. What do people outside here think? They just think it's some sort of awesome, incredible rhythm?
God, there's probably a spectrum of reactions to that. I mean, and I think that New Orleans music, especially through Treme and shows like that, have reached a broader audience. But I still think it's a small type of music compared to pop music.
But I think Mardi Gras is also like sort of perceived as like spring break. Like the sort of richness of the culture surrounding Mardi Gras here is not really, perceived nationally in the same
It's
way
more
at
like
all.
take your top off and
the
throw
Bourbon
some beats.
Streets feed from CNN. That you know what I mean.
But have you been able to change that at all by getting this stuff out there?
Definitely not. I don't.
Nothing.
That's a larger.
It's funny to be a rock band and then try and have some sort of cultural significance, I suppose.
Well, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, my grandchildren love the music. They don't know anything about Mardi Gras, but they're little and they love the way it sounds. And when they eat their food, their dinner, they've got to have their music on, and
That's
they love
good to hear.
the New Orleans stuff.
Yeah.
Do they live here, Shani?
No, they live in New York.
No, there you
And,
go. That's what I'm wondering. I mean, if this thing sort of travels, like Zydeco or Cajun, you don't really know what it is if you
New
live
Orleans
outside.
And they love it.
People, it definitely is. It's a different sound that people don't always hear. And
Yeah.
people generally, it's a good time. It's not hard to
It's nice
digest.
music. It's not, vulgar or anything. It's just got nice
It's infectious.
rhythm and yeah, it
We'll
really
listen to a
is.
couple of more tracks off the album in a minute. But
Love
first
it.
of all, why don't we all direct our attention to the left of the table where,
Yes, I've
where
been waiting
Champ
for this.
Superstar is texting someone. Who are you texting,
Oh, I'm
Champ?
tweeting, of course.
Tweeting, okay. Well, let's get on to Twitter in a minute, but first of all, let's talk about your name. Because I asked you in an email before the show, what's your real name, and you wouldn't tell me. I don't need to know it right now either. But why do you go by Champ Superstar?
Well, I guess
follow
I used
Champ.
to. I mean, I'm kind of a writer. I'm a pretty lazy writer, but when I was a little more motivated to write,
There's only 26 letters, huh?
I had I
How
just
energetic
have
do you
like a
have to be?
super boring real name. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
I don't have an awesome name.
You don't
so,
look super boring. You look fascinating.
Well,
doesn't
that's what I think, but
Yeah.
nobody was reading my stuff. So
when you
wh-
call yourself Cindy Schwartz or something, nobody cares.
Right, yeah. Like nobody wants. I mean, like I have an ambiguous first name. It could be a boy's name or a girl's name, so people didn't really know.
Like Hal?
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
So I changed it to get attention,
Yeah.
really, and it stuck.
And you have got some more attention since you started calling
Yeah,
yourself.
and nobody calls me anything but Champ
Champ.
anymore. Yeah, it's weird.
So what do your parents call you? Champ?
They call me by my real name.
They do. Where are you from? Here?
I'm from Texas. I'm from Houston.
From Houston, Texas. So how long ago did you come here?
Well, I came here for college in the late 90s, and I stayed. Yeah.
And did you-
I moved around a little bit, but
When did you start
Came back.
calling yourself Champ? After college or in college?
after.
So what did you decide? What were you thinking you were going to do when you finished college here? What college did you go to?
I went to Loyola.
To do what?
I don't know. My major was English, creative writing, which is
Right.
funny because I'm not creative at all.
Well, that would make it difficult to be a writer, wouldn't it? Unless you wrote like technical manuals.
Well, that's what I do. I'm a technical writer for the petrochemical industry.
Ah, wow, now we got somewhere. Hey, how about that, Shani? How do you like that for? I got it in 5
That's right.
questions.
Tech and data analysis. So what I do is absolutely uninteresting to anybody but me.
You do technical data analysis.
Technical writing and data
Technical
analysis.
writing and data
Oh,
analysis.
my God.
That does sound extremely dull. But to
does
look at
sound
you, you wouldn't think that you're a dull person at all. And then to read this stuff that,
man.
first of all, your bio. I mean, I didn't write any of this about you. You wrote this about yourself.
Yes.
So is any of this true?
Absolutely not.
You like sidewalk orgasms?
Yeah, that was a joke from when I lived in Austin and we had South by Southwest there. It's like being surrounded by musicians. So that was kind of the joke. Just walking
that
down
went
the
over
street.
my head. That one. Okay. What about you being a fan of epidemiology and the history of salt? I don't even know what epidemiology is. Is it?
It's just the study of diseases.
Are you like the study of diseases?
Yeah,
Really?
I think it's interesting.
It is
Yeah.
interesting if you're a doctor or something, I suppose.
Yeah.
But what would an ordinary person be interested in disease?
I don't know. I'm a reader. I'm a compulsive reader. So
Shani, what sort of person is interested in diseases?
A doctor or a,
doctor.
patient.
That's what I just
Or
said.
patients.
Or a patient.
Paranoid.
that's more like me.
You're more like a paranoid. Well, you got it in one.
Hypochondriac.
I have that too.
Are you a hypochondriac?
No, not at all.
Are you paranoid, really?
No.
Okay, so
But it's really interesting.
so your Twitter feed, how much of that is you? I mean,
That's all me.
Do you have two personalities? Are you a technical, boring person at work and serious,
Yes.
and then you come home and
Yeah.
let rip on Twitter?
Yeah.
With things like,
Oh, gosh.
this is just
Scared of
actually
this.
talking about marriage. This is I only just got this Twitter stuff that you put up there in the last 24 hours, but this is not for the last year or anything. I'm not like some great researcher. This says, I refuse to marry, fuck this world. Talking of marriage
Oh, my
for
God.
48 years.
Oh, no.
So that's an interesting two sentences. I refuse to marry and fuck this world.
I have no idea what that rant was about. None.
You can't remember? It was only,
No.
I mean, it says, I mean, I don't know when it was,
Was
but
it
it was
last
8
night?
hours ago after I printed it. I just printed this
8
off
hours
before I
ago.
came here, so that was like 10 hours ago.
Wow.
And you can't
I have
remember.
No clue.
What sort of...
I've tweeted 100 times since then.
Yeah, so you're a non-stop tweeter. What sort of drugs do you do?
I don't do any drugs.
You don't drink a lot of alcohol?
I do drink a lot of alcohol.
31,000 tweets.
How many?
No,
31,000.
there's way more than that. It's like 131,000, I think.
Really? Let me see.
Yeah.
Robert's looking up.
I
your-
just followed her. I'm following her now.
And it says...
I guess I have a compulsive personality.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. 140,000.
140,000 tweets.
Just to get
I've been on for 4 years, though. I'm not new.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
I know. I'll give you that.
Well, who can do some math? 4's into 140,000
That's
is...
an amazing amount of tweets.
That
I can
is
do that much math.
amazing.
Who
Is
has
that-
time?
It's
How do
10,000.
you have time for that?
That's
No
10,000 tweets a year.
Well, a tweet maybe takes what? I mean, it could take 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so
5 seconds. Yeah.
out of your day.
But can you do that while you're asleep? No. So there's a few hours.
No,
How many
well,
hours do you
I'm
sleep?
also an insomniac, so I'm up a lot.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What
I'm
is it-
awake a lot.
What does that mean to be insomniac? It sounds so horrible. You don't look unhealthy.
No, I mean, I don't feel unhealthy, but I just don't sleep.
how many followers do you have, though? I mean,
3,100. Not very many for
Wow.
many tweets as that I produce.
Are
that's
these
not-
all your friends?
3,101. I'll tell you that.
Are they all your friends? Shannie, that's a fantastic question. You don't use Twitter at all, I assume, right?
I don't even know what it is.
Well, this is a very good question.
I am so
Champ,
sorry.
explain to Shannie what Twitter is, if you can, in one sentence.
So I guess originally it was a microblogging site.
Are you lost
Limited
yet
to
on that?
140 characters.
Worlds are colliding.
So you know what a blog is? I mean, you know what a blog is, right? You read stuff on the
I
internet.
just learned. I mean, I know. I've heard the word and I know what it is, but I wouldn't know how to do it or get one or
Yeah.
find it.
I mean,
just
I
like
would
a
say
journal,
Twitter. I mean,
really.
do you have Facebook?
No.
So anything like that, anything that you can just update with a status at any point in time.
But who cares about if I'm sitting here
I ask
or
that
if I'm
question all day
in my
long.
car and I
Well, okay. What about
Going
this?
to
then?
work.
Well, who cares about this? This is some of these things that Champ Superstar has written on Twitter.
I try not to delete, but sometimes I wish I had.
Here we go. White dudes are really into tiny-boned, bird-boned chicks that have long hair and no breasts, which I know from polls I've taken. So that's
I mean,
an
you're
observation.
funny. You're really funny. I'm so sorry. I just
See, now you understand.
Exactly.
I'm
It is comedy
I'm
entertainment.
amused
But I
by
have taken
it.
polls.
Yeah.
You have taken
No,
polls,
not.
and you find that. What made you think that white dudes? I mean, Shani's a therapist. We could help you here for free. This is
need
free
help.
right now.
She's doing fine.
Awesome. You're the only
Yeah.
person that thinks that, I'm sure.
Oh, really? Do most people think you're crazy?
Yeah, people do.
What do you think? Are you crazy?
No,
No.
no. I don't think I am.
You're fun.
Yeah, I'm fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
But-
you.
but what's
From
kind
the
of-
professional.
But what? You're not going to really refuse to get married then? That's just a joke.
I actually have refused to get married.
Who
so.
proposed to you?
I've had a couple of ex-boyfriends.
But they both proposed.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
No,
actually.
no.
And what was the reason for declining their offer?
I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm not built that way, I guess, really.
Why is that? Don't want to have sex 3 times a week? and-
Not with the same person.
You don't?
That's crazy.
Really? Is it really? Does that seem crazy to you?
No, it seems fine. I'm sure people.
No, for you. I don't
tons of
mean in
people are
general.
really
I mean
happy.
for you.
No, not for me. I'm just not that.
You don't want to have sex with the same guy 3 times a week.
No, I don't want to have sex with anybody ever.
Starting when?
There we go.
Is that true?
Sometimes, yeah.
What makes you? I mean, that's an unusual thing for a person to say.
I don't know, man. You're scaring me now. I'm not sure how to answer this. I'm scaring myself.
No, you don't have a libido. You don't feel like you want to have sex with somebody.
I guess I do, but I just don't for a lot of reasons. I'm
What are
scared.
they? You're scared of what?
Disease, pregnancy, attachment.
Is that in order?
Is that what?
Are you scared? And is that in some sort of order, or just as it came to you?
That's just as it came to me.
Okay, so what would be the most one of those out of those three that scares you the most?
They're all equally scary.
Being attached, just getting attached to somebody,
Yes.
getting a disease from somebody.
Yes.
And what was the third one? Getting pregnant from somebody.
Actually, disease would probably be the scariest.
Disease is number one.
Yeah.
What disease do you think you could get from, say, having sex with one of these guys in Galactic?
Not from either one of these guys.
No, these two guys have got nothing. Okay. Look at Robert's face.
I'm trying to think of a one-liner appropriate for this.
Okay,
There's absolutely nothing appropriate.
So what about the other guys in the room? I mean, when you see a random guy who's single and available, the first thing you think of is, what's he going to give me?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And what are some of the...
My second question is, what can he give me?
What can he give me? Well,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, really, I mean,
He's actually smart.
I agree.
I love the surprise in your voice.
I mean, if more people would think like that,
who would be screwing anybody?
no,
Nobody.
There wouldn't be so many women or men too that have that gift that never goes away.
Yeah.
Like herpes?
Herpes.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, I read something
you know,
on herpes like 10 years ago, and it just scared me to death.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
No.
Same reason?
Yes.
Do you do anything dangerous at all?
Just drink.
Well, that's not that dangerous, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, are you a fearful person?
Generally, I think healthy fear.
Right. Well, is it healthy to
It
really...
doesn't keep me in my house or anything like
It keeps
that.
you
I mean,
awake at night. Something's keeping you
Well,
awake.
that's true.
What's keeping you awake at
I
night?
don't know. I just I have trouble sleeping.
Do you need to sleep? I mean, do you get tired?
Yeah, I get tired.
So you lie down to go to sleep and you can't get to sleep.
Right.
You need to have sex with somebody.
Maybe that'll
Is that
solve
right,
all my
Shannie?
problems.
Isn't that
depends on
relaxing?
who it's with and what kind of sex it
But
is.
of course, if you had sex with somebody, that would be the opposite of relaxing because you'd be freaking about what you could
Yes.
have caught or whether you
I
got
think
knocked
so.
up.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow, this is awful, champ.
It's devastating to me,
I
too.
can't tell if you're kidding or not. I don't think you are, though, really.
I'm always half kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always truth to pretty much anything I
Right.
say, I think.
But are you scared of falling in love as well? Or have someone falling in love with you?
I don't know, man. These are really... I wasn't prepared for this.
I wasn't either, quite frankly, but, here we are.
I thought I was going to just make some jokes and have a drink.
Well, you're having a drink, but you can make any jokes you want. But seriously, two guys proposed to you and you refused both of them.
I just didn't think I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it hasn't happened since, so...
You think you've scared them all off, or there'll be
Yeah.
more?
I think I've scared them all away.
But you must have got attached to these guys. I mean, people don't propose
Sure.
to somebody else unless they...
No, I mean, I've had boyfriends. Not like
Yeah.
I've just run around like being single and, chased my whole life. I mean, but just wasn't ready. I don't think I'll ever be ready, to be perfectly honest.
Fuck this world, right?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
You don't have to get married. But how does fuck this world got to do with getting married? I mean, that was just a tweet, of course. It doesn't mean it's true.
Honestly, don't remember. I was at the Saint really late
Oh,
last
really?
night with her.
With your friend who's over here? Okay. She looks pretty good, too. Were you hungover? So do you have to go to work in the morning? I mean,
No, I'm
normally, or what?
I'm a contractor, so
Right.
I have time off for long stretches.
So what
This
sort
is
of
one
stuff are
them.
you writing? I mean, when this technical writing, what are you doing?
What my company does is inspection. And so we go into petrochemical refineries and inspect equipment, and then I gather
You
data.
personally do?
I don't do that. God, no. it's
Okay,
crazy.
so someone goes into like an inspector type guy.
An
or
inspector
woman
type guy will go into like a tank or a tower or a nuclear reactor.
with
or
like
something
a
that.
white hard hat or something and
Yeah.
a coat, and then they come back with some report
With
about
data, yeah.
what's going on inside a silo or inside a refinery.
Yeah.
And they give it to you as data.
Yeah.
And you have to write that into English.
I turn data into information, yes.
That's quite a skill, isn't it? Wouldn't it
It's
be?
pretty niche. That's why I can't find any other jobs anywhere else.
Is it well paid? You make a lot of money?
I make pretty good money.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good gig. So you stay at home? What do you wear at
Well,
home?
I
Do you
travel
wear-
a lot for my job. but
Really? What
when
do you wear when you're knocking around the house doing your writing?
What do I wear?
Yeah.
I usually just wear. I don't usually wear pants. That's a big thing on my Twitter feed.
No pants. Okay.
No, I wear pants.
Well, I thought you might be going to say you wore a skirt or something.
No, I mean I usually just kick around in yoga pants and t-shirt.
Do you do
Just like everybody
Do you
else.
do yoga?
No,
But you have the yoga pants.
I have the yoga pants.
Right.
At least I look like I do it.
Yeah, that's
You
half
do?
the battle.
Okay. Shall
I have the gear, I guess.
Shall we get one more tweet and then see if Shannie can say something
I'm
about
scared. Yeah.
Okay. DJ Prick is aptly named. That's just a random thought in the middle of a whole lot of
I
other
just
ones.
saw that. Raines.
You just saw that on my thing here?
I knew you were going to read that as soon as I saw it.
Is
Okay.
that a real DJ? Mm-hmm. It is. Okay.
Yeah, he DJs Friday nights at the Saint. He's actually a very nice person.
Oh, so that was
I
just...
think I was there last Friday
No,
night.
that was Saturday.
Oh, it was.
Who's on Saturday?
Saturday they do Obsession. It's a dance party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is the Saint?
It's on St. Mary by Off Magazine.
Lower Garden District.
Yeah, right where it's one way-ish.
Yeah, there's like a triangle
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Is that Herb Saint or
No.
No.
the Saint?
That's totally.
Yeah, we're real hip. We changed it just to the Saint.
Yeah, Herb Saint is a very fancy restaurant.
It certainly is.
Clearly don't belong in this group.
That is a good question, though.
I think you belong here. I think I maybe don't belong here.
I want to go to
I think
Herb
we all
Saint.
belong
I
here.
clearly don't.
That's the wonderful thing about New Orleans is that we all belong
That's
here.
true. That's
No
true.
one's getting kicked
Excellent
out.
point.
No one's getting kicked out just because they go to the Saint or Herb Saint. Hey, let's
I
take
frequent both.
You do?
I like them both as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I love listening to you, the three of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. What do you do for fun, Shani?
What do I do for fun?
Other than bang the rabbi 3 times a week.
Hey, that's fun.
That's fun. Okay.
Excellent
That's
question.
enough fun for anybody.
Really? Okay.
But I have wonderful fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying you don't. I'm just asking what it is.
Well, my whole life is fun.
Oh my God! I wish I could
I
say
know,
that. Is it
this
really?
is terrible.
Your whole life is fun. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. Is that true?
I mean, certainly there are sadnesses and sorrows. That's why, when you have a lot of things like that, you've got to really focus on getting the joy where you can, and that's sometimes little things. But my greatest fun, really, I know this again is going to just make me sound like a really old person, but being with my grandchildren, they are so adorable and funny.
But they live in New York.
Yes.
So how often can you do that?
Well, we just got back from a week taking care of them while my daughter and her husband were in Spain on a vacation.
Nice.
That's
And
good parents to
These
have.
kids are funny.
How old are these little brats?
Well, these little ones, the oldest is going to be 5 in July, and then her little sister is 2 and maybe a third or a quarter or something.
And this is your son and his wife?
My daughter
Your daughter
and
and
her
her husband.
husband, yeah.
And they left you with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and took off to Spain for a
Well,
week?
my husband was there too.
Yeah, I know, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Holy hell, you're a good grandma.
Yeah.
My
But I
goodness.
just love them, and they are funny. They are really funny.
Okay.
You've got to listen.
What
but
about
they're
when you're at
funny.
home in New Orleans? What do you do on a sort of a random night?
Oh,
You
we
go to the
out for
movies, you go for dinner?
We go out for dinner with friends,
Right.
and there's always something going on.
Ever got food
we've got
poisoning?
A lot of friends. No,
Never had food poisoning in the whole time?
at least not that I remember.
You'd remember it.
Yeah, listen.
I've
I've
had
lived
food
a long
poisoning
time.
quite a
I
bit.
probably have had food poisoning.
You guys
but
had
I
food
don't
poisoning?
remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Robert,
Yeah.
where did you get food poisoning at? Oh, you didn't?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm allergic to mussels, so like one of the worst
okay.
food. But it's not really food poisoning then. But
Well,
so
it is, but
I've
it's-
associated it, a couple times. But I don't really want to name the restaurant.
No,
'cause I don't
it's
want
kind of a bad thing to do. I shouldn't have asked. that. I
it's
take
a New
that
Orleans
back.
restaurant, and it wasn't the mussels. It was another time when I ate and I got sick. But you never know what it is, if it was that or I
Yeah.
had something before it. But yes, I've definitely had my share. of
Jeff,
food
have you ever had... I don't know why I'm asking these stupid questions. You ever had food poisoning?
I guess yes, but no, grand moment of.
Not serious, like I
Like-
went to some place and got food poisoning and can never go back there.
Yeah, no, not really. Not in the city that I would admit to at this
Okay.
moment.
I've been
Champ?
back.
I don't think I've ever had it. I know I've used it as an excuse to get out of work in the past.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's as close as I've gotten.
Can't finish the article because I've got food poisoning. Let's take a listen to another song off... what is it? How do you pronounce it?
Carnival Electricos.
Carnival Electricos.
And this is a Mardi Gras Indian song,
Okay.
which is a young war chief, as he calls himself, Juan Pardo. Came in the studio and kind of blew the roof off the place on this track.
Okay, if you're just skipping around this podcast for some reason, this is Galactic and the album Carnival Electricos. And what is the name of the song?
Hadika, which is our invented term that we've been trying to sort of...
Make into a Mardi Gras chant.
yeah,
Something.
but it hasn't really worked out that well. But, we're still trying.
Well, how did Parky Way get there? I guess is it trying
Exactly. Let's see.
to... Okay, so Hardy Car. Let's give it a shot.
Hanukkah rhymes with Mardi Gras. See, so you can see where this is.
See where you're going to.
Brilliant.
This actually was came out of the Julu parade that used to. Well, that still happens.
It's not the same thing as having sex with a Rabbi Jew lube, is it?
No, but
this might tie into
this is like a renegade parade. Mardi Gras crew that runs every day or every year. After Zulu, they were thrown off the Zulu route. But I think it's been going on for like 20 years or something.
Off the Zulu route.
It's started by the New Orleans Klezmer All-Stars.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very fine group of young men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you write these songs?
With a group. We all grew together.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Well, I mean, Carnival Time was already written.
Okay.
The one you heard before.
Yeah, but we were with the music, but kept the structure relatively the same. I guess.
But this one's an original.
Yeah. Original.
Galactic original. Yes, Galactic. Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very nice indeed.
Thank you very much.
Now, I got a lot of things to say right now, but first of all, Robert, you produced that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Produced the album. Ben Ellman, our sax player, co-produced some of the tracks as well.
So you were responsible for putting that stuff in my left and right ear?
The
like,
panning.
Wow,
that was
wow,
actually,
wow.
I think Ben did that. Did that
Pretty,
the
pretty
pan sweep
mind-bending type
Yeah.
Yeah,
stuff. That's a great song, by the way, don't you think, around the table here?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Thanks.
It's
Guitar was
really
excellent.
nice. Hey, listen, if you're
That's Jeff.
bouncing around here, our guests from Galactic, Jeff Raines and Robert Mercurio, Also, Champ Superstar is here, and Shannie Goldstein is here. If you're listening to the show outside of New Orleans, we're coming to you live from the Columns Hotel in Uptown New Orleans. If you're coming here and you're looking for a hotel or a tour or you need tips on what to do, check in with our friends at neworleans.com, the official New Orleans travel site. And one of the things you can do while you're here is go see the New Movement. You guys know about the New Movement?
Yes, I love the New Movement.
Yes, Champ's a big fan. After 2 years of shows in bars, museums, parks, and wherever else they could, the New Movement has opened a full-time comedy theater in the Maroney. Have you guys been to this thing?
Where's
Jeff and Robert, it's at 1919 Burgundy Street. It's absolutely awesome, actually. They have shows from Thursday to Saturday. Everything's pretty cheap or free. I paid $5 on Saturday night to go see an amazing show.
What's the cross street
Chris
on
and
that?
Tammy.
Burgundy and...
1919. I'd have to look it up.
Is
Look
it
it up on your
on which
on
side of
my little
Elysian
deal
Fields?
here.
Yeah, that's cool. I've been
It's near that.
looking for something
Is it
like
Wasabi, that restaurant called?
Oh, right.
Oh.
It's right down
It's
the
right
street
near
by the
there.
John. You know where
Oh,
the John
okay.
is?
So, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Frenchman then.
Yeah, they also have improv and sketch comedy classes. You can check on tnmcomedy.com for more information. You can also listen to the principals of the TNM movement, Chris True and Tammy Nelson.
Both hilarious.
On our show,
Cool.
True to the Game, New Orleans' first badass sports comedy podcast. It's awesome. Produced by our very
hell yes.
there it is. Produced by our very own Chris Kehoe sitting over here. So, so just back to see, you guys, you've been married for 48 years, Shannie, which is an achievement. Also, you know what's an incredible achievement is being in the same band for 18 years.
Wow.
It's almost like
Wow.
being married for 48.
Kind of. We actually, our first
you're
band.
right.
I mean,
you're
bands
right.
don't. They usually last 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. So.
How come you guys have stuck it out for 18?
We actually started. We grew up together, and so we.
You did, really?
Our first band was called.
You two, or
We
all
did,
of you?
yeah.
So
We grew
you
up
two
like
guys.
a couple miles from each other, and went to junior high school and started a band called the Skitsmatics.
Where was
that?
this?
I'm hoping
Great
to
name.
restart, maybe in about 10 years.
Where was the Skitsmatics? Where were you then?
We were in right outside of Washington D.C. And we were playing basically like surf music, like The Ventures and Agent Orange, stuff like that.
Was it in high school or something?
No, junior high school.
Junior high school.
Wow.
Okay. And then,
And then
what's the secret to 18? So
Oh,
you just,
yeah.
You've
What's the
known each
secret?
other a long
Well,
time.
and then so
Sex 3 times a
we
week.
sort of kept bands.
Okay.
Wow.
I guess I'll never live this down.
You know what?
Besides the obvious. Well, we had bands in high school, but we didn't really get serious till we got to New Orleans. Sort of randomly ended up in college here. Him at Tulane and me at Loyola. And so by our sophomore year, we were playing, playing shows, opening up for various bands around town. And by our senior year, I guess we had become a reasonably decent band.
This is was this Galactic Prophylactic?
Exactly.
At that point?
So we were opening up for or we would take nights for if Walter Wolfman went on the road, they would give us his Saturday night at the Maple Leaf or something like that. And then from there we made a record at the legendary C. Saint Studios, and as soon as we were out of college, we hit the road in a van and never looked back. Basically,
I remember when you started out, you were rehearsing in a house on Coliseum Street. Where Rich Vogel's house, the organ player.
I knew you from somewhere.
I lived across the street.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
And there were two guys in the band. There was Rich Vogel and some
And
other tall
Rob Gowan. Yeah.
Yeah. Now what happened to him? He disappeared.
He became a lawyer and moved to Memphis, and he's now a public defender.
He
And,
was the smart one.
He got out
Yeah,
of
he
rock
got
and roll
out
quick.
and went the normal route.
But he is a lawyer on the side of righteousness.
But the rest of you guys have stayed together. I mean, Rich is still in the band.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was his apartment there.
Yeah.
And actually, Mitch Foreman, who's our regular piano player on this, Mitch Foreman and I helped Rich start his car sometime.
Yes, the station wagon.
Push the station wagon.
Of course.
The big woody station wagon.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That flooded. I'm sorry to say, in Katrina. I
It
think
did. It's gone
was lost.
finally.
yeah.
Sorry to report.
So those so you two guys have known each other for a long time, and that's how you've got a sort of a strong bond. How do you keep the rest of the guys? How do you all stay together? Is there some sort of mechanism? Gabrielle, the waitress, is here. Anyone like a drink?
My third. Another Stella Artois.
All right, I guess I will
Stella.
too. I feel pressure.
Another.
Yeah.
What are you drinking actually, Champ?
Tito's and tonic.
Tito's and tonic. What the heck is a Tito's?
Vodka.
Tito's vodka?
It's from Austin.
Austin.
Ah.
Yeah.
Shani, you're good still.
Got to work.
Peer pressure is not
Jeff,
kicking
you
in.
drink. Oh, you've got another one, Jeff?
Stoli and tonic, please.
I would say a lot of...
Can I take a rain check on these drinks?
Yes, we can add them to your next appearance on for your what's 48 plus 48? 96. Your 96th wedding anniversary.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Does that work? Saying that?
No.
That sounds a bit superstitious for a religious person. I've heard people say that.
Things,
I know.
It's like doesn't hurt, can't hurt.
Wouldn't
just
hurt.
Can't hurt.
Right.
It's like chicken soup. Can't hurt.
That's very Jewish. Is there such a thing as very Jewish, really, or do I just say that?
It's like very American.
Yeah.
Very.
What's the Jewish community like here in New Orleans? Is there a large?
Wonderful.
Well, other than that, say, is it large?
Well, compared to New York, no.
Compared to other parts of New Orleans, other groups. It's not as big as the Catholic Church, of course.
No. I mean, I really don't know.
Well,
and post-Katrina, things did change quite a bit.
You teach Hebrew at Tulane?
Well, actually,
No.
I was terminated
Come
by
on.
Katrina. That was thankfully I did not lose my home or a family
Right.
member, but I did lose my job.
Why did they
But
decide
that's
to
okay.
axe you then? Because people don't want to learn Hebrew after a storm? or something?
No.
It's
They had
apocalyptic?
it was whatever the powers maybe decided how they would restructure the school to keep it going. And
Is that anti-Semitism?
no.
What was the reason? So what are you doing now? Do you teach? What did you teach? Did you teach Hebrew language,
yes.
like how to speak Hebrew?
Yes.
Let's do the rest of the show in Hebrew. What
No.
is that, guys?
No.
Oh, wow.
So you learned Hebrew when you were in Jerusalem in 19
No.
whatever.
I studied, like a foreign language
Yeah.
since I was a child.
Right.
And, you just kind of learn as you go.
Who wants to speak Hebrew? I mean, at Tulane, who wants to learn Hebrew?
Oh,
who do you
lots of
teach?
students.
No, I mean, who do you teach? What kind of kids?
Students.
Right. Okay. What kind of students? I mean, with a foreign language
freshmen.
requirement?
No, yes. Well, I do believe that some of them study it because they want to, and others because it fulfills a language requirement.
Be a pretty difficult one to do for a foreign language because it has a different
It is.
alphabet.
It's very.
You're like starting all over.
It's very difficult.
And it goes from right to left as
It
well.
does.
Right?
I mean, it's difficult, but I loved it. And once I stopped teaching, I filled up my time with working out, which I needed to do.
Really?
And with my social work practice. Hey.
Right. So you work more.
And life. We go away. We travel a bit. So.
What do you do in your social work practice? People come in to see you. You have an office.
Yes.
And is it
Yes,
like what is
private
what is
practice.
social work versus therapy? Is it the same thing?
Same. Well, there are different types of social workers. There are social workers who work in agencies with adoptions or with, I don't know what.
Pedophiles?
Child abuse or, things like that. Wow. And then others that take ordinary people who want to talk to somebody about something. And
Champ knows a bit about pedophilia. by the way.
no, God forbid.
It's on the Twitter feed from the last 24 hours. I think this Twitter feed starts off with something, hello, pedophiles.
It may.
It does.
Oh,
Would you
my
like
God.
me to show it to you?
Well, I have this weird theory. It's not mine. I just read about it, about the fashion industry and how they have interest in like these 80-pound women with no curves or breasts or anything like that. And so my theory has been that the people that run the fashion industry are all pedophiles because they have this attraction to these
That's interesting.
weird
Wow.
little gelfling-looking people. So that's kind of where that stems from.
Happy
There's
Thursday,
history.
new pedophiles is what it says. This is the first tweet on Thursday. Happy Thursday, new pedophiles, with a lot of exclamation points.
It did come after the 80 pounds.
This is not Fashion Week.
The 80-pound small bone bird
Yeah,
bone
that did
chicks
come
that
after
people-
me mentioning that. So there's a bit of history
So
sometimes.
there's actually sort of a serious thing,
yeah.
a theme going on
Yeah,
here.
I think I'm half and half.
Half and half,
Half serious and half joking.
Yeah, well, it's quite an interesting theory that pedophilia runs the fashion industry. I mean, there are some. I mean, it used
There's
to
some
be
truth to it.
people used to call that the sort of heroin chic. They said that this look was, and
Yeah, it's weird.
to
The
say
whole
that.
American Apparel thing.
Yeah, the
that's
American
going
Apparel
on.
thing
American
is really
Apparel
creepy.
thing is, yeah.
What is the deal with that?
Oh, well, the owner has just gotten kind of charged with sexual harassment, that he's, all the models that have been used in his ads. Have you ever seen an American Apparel ad?
No, I've only seen the store on Magazine Street. I don't know anything about it. And it's all made in L.A. or something, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's like a national chain. I
Yeah, but they don't make it. They don't make the clothes in Mexico or China or
Yeah,
anything.
I
They make
guess
them
it's
all in L.A. or something. It's all American, hence the name.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be this whole sort of feel-good company.
Yeah,
But Feel Good has a whole
the
other
ads
term,
have always
apparently.
been on the verge of creepy.
Really
And-
creepy.
Yeah.
Not on the verge.
Oh.
They're definitely
Really?
creepy.
What? I haven't seen one. Shani, do you know
They're on
what
the
they
back
look
of a
like?
lot of
I
weeklies,
have no
gambits,
idea.
and stuff. You know,
What do they look like?
just kind of
It's like softcore porn with
underage looking
Yes.
girls,
Thin, very thin.
yeah.
wearing in kind of inappropriate outfits, but on the verge of accepted, I guess, and like.
Geez, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Sounds
should-
pretty
you,
good.
You would recognize these ads, I'm sure.
But he
Okay.
just got kind
They're
of.
very pervasive, in many magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
So that guy just got head up.
He just because he's been having. What do you know more?
I don't know.
Look it up on the web.
Good idea.
I don't want to
it.
misquote
Google it.
what's
Google
going on. Google it.
So, Shani, you play the guitar as well?
It's an approach.
Well, I mean, it's all relative.
Because it says here, it says on this thing that I found on Google, which you hadn't seen until I'm just showing you this
Yes,
right now.
that's right. I've never
It
looked
says that you
myself up.
worked, you've never Googled your own name.
Never.
You might be the last person in America
Oh, maybe.
who's never Googled their own name. But it says here anyway that you worked with Jews in the Soviet Union, which a lot of people listening to this probably don't even know that the Jews were oppressed in the Soviet Union back in the 60s and 70s?
Yeah.
And they weren't allowed to leave, but nobody was
Right.
allowed to leave. But
Right.
But I guess there was a whole...
especially them. There was such anti-Semitism.
Right.
They were singled out for oppression.
And you decided to do something personally about it, to try and get Jews out of the Soviet Union.
Well, my husband really, and I just
And you had to
went
go because
along.
you were having sex with him 3 times a week. So what would he do if he was gone for 2 weeks? That's 6 down.
You never live in.
I had to make sure that he didn't, get into trouble.
Wasn't banging some refusenik.
Not to worry.
And it says here that it says you smuggled Hebrew music into the country in your guitar case.
Yes, well,
Like the-
when
like
you're
the
young,
singing
you do
nun or
things that when you look back and you say, "Gee, God, that
What were
was
you taking?
dangerous."
Why were you taking a guitar case with you to
Well, because
Soviet
it was like
Union?
a disguise. You
played the part of a Joan Baez or something?
exactly coming to study Russian folk music.
That was
that
your
was my
front. You're like
front.
you're like a spy.
That's cool.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's
You're
a long story. We don't have time for it now, but
Well, we've got,
but it was.
we don't
it
actually,
was
but we have a
very-
minute.
It was
totally
very gratifying
Yeah.
and interesting part of my life.
So you
with
actually
my husband.
successfully got people who were oppressed in the Soviet Union to freedom in the United States.
Yeah, not us alone. I mean, it was
No, there was a whole
networking
movement, but you were
and a
part.
movement.
But you were
and-
part of it.
Yeah, we were.
And you were prepared to
We
take
were.
on the KGB, which was a serious. I mean, that's not screwing around.
Well,
No pun intended.
that's yeah, right.
but that is not screwing around.
I
The
mean-
KGB wasn't playing games.
No.
Not
They
then.
don't play games. Not then.
So you were risking a lot to do this.
I
You must
guess
have
so.
really believed it. And did you
Yes.
did you perceive any danger to yourself?
Yes, I was terrified.
Really?
Wow.
But thankfully, my husband is more of an adventurer, and he is more, we've got to do this. See, I don't even like to drive my car in places that I don't know where I'm going.
All right.
But if he's going, I just say, okay, let's do it.
So you trust him implicitly.
Absolutely.
That
And it
must
was
have
a
something-
passion. It was totally a passion at that time.
That's got to be part of the secret of staying married,
Yeah.
to trust somebody.
Absolutely.
This is where you could learn a good lesson here,
I
Chan.
know. I'm learning a
Well-
lot. I'm reevaluating my life choices.
I
Will you
mean,
marry me?
you're already married. What is this? You have 2 children.
Answer still no.
Well, you guys, I have to say, it's been an instructive hour sitting around here at the Columns Hotel.
It's
Yeah,
been fun.
it's
You
been
see,
crazy.
what do I do about fun? How do I have fun? This is fun.
This is fun.
This is fun.
This was fun,
Yeah,
Shani,
this is
wasn't it?
Thank you.
Thank
it was
you
a lot
very
of
much.
fun.
Shani Goldstein.
Nice to meet everybody.
Jeff Raines, Robert Mercusrio, and the famous Champ Superstar have been my guests on Happy Hour.
Infamous, I think. Is probably.
Infamous is fitting as well. Our producers are Melinda Hawes, Anush Karoon, Trish Kaufman, and Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director, and Cliff Brigden is our web designer. And our link to the real world, Mitch Foreman, played, or wrote actually, and is playing, although recorded, our theme song. If you'd like to be on our show, Drop us a line at itsneworleans@gmail.com. The show is recorded live at the Columns Hotel, and you can check out our other happy hours we've recorded here on our website. You can also check out our other shows. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live at Commander's Palace, which you can also hear very soon on WWNO 89.9 FM. You can hear Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic, and True to the Game with the fabulous Chris True and Tammy Nelson, also on itsneworleans.com. You can keep up with us by liking It's New Orleans on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, along with Champ Superstar, of course, and Galactic. And Shannie, you should get on Twitter as well now, you know. All about it. You can subscribe to our podcast also
I'd follow you.
on iTunes. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Mitch Foreman, who's normally sitting there on the piano, not being recorded, I'm Grant Morris. We'll see you next time, right here on Happy Hour.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Let's be honest, there are tons of ways to send money back home, and every company promises me the same things: good rates and safe transfers. That's why it can be overwhelming to choose a new way to send money. I switched to Remitly because I can track my money every step of the way, which means I know exactly when my mom will get her money. And with their extensive payment network, my mom can receive her money in a way that is more convenient and safe for her. You should check it out. Go to Remitly.com or download their app to get started. Remitly Inc. is a licensed money transmitter by the state of New York, California, Massachusetts, and other states.